The sun was bright in the blue sky as three young men walked into the park. Their names were Derek, Mike, and Tom. Derek was the tallest with spiky brown hair. Mike had a red cap on his head. Tom wore a black jacket even though it was hot. They were all bored and looking for something to do on this summer day. "This park is so boring," said Derek as he kicked a small rock on the path. "We need some fun." Mike nodded and looked around. "What can we do here? There's nothing but old people and kids." Tom spotted something and pointed. "Look over there." The other two turned to see what Tom was pointing at. It was a small brown dog playing by itself near a bench. The dog was chasing a butterfly and jumping around. Its owner was sitting on the bench but was busy talking on the phone. She was not watching her dog. Derek smiled in a mean way. "I have an idea for some fun," he said. His eyes were fixed on the little dog. Mike knew what Derek was thinking. "Don't do it, man. That's not cool." "Are you scared?" Derek laughed. "It's just a dumb dog. No one will know it was us." Tom looked nervous but didn't say anything. He never stood up to Derek. No one did. "Watch this," Derek said as he started walking toward the dog. The little brown dog saw Derek coming. It wagged its tail and ran up to him. The dog thought it had found a new friend to play with. It had no idea what Derek was planning to do. Derek looked around quickly. The dog's owner was still on her phone. No one else seemed to be watching. The park was busy, but everyone was doing their own thing. Derek smiled again and raised his foot, ready to kick the trusting dog. What Derek didn't know was that someone was watching him very closely. On another bench not far away sat a man reading some papers. He wore simple clothes and a cap pulled low over his eyes. Most people walking by didn't notice him. That was how he liked it. The man was Jason Statham, the famous movie star known for action films. He had come to the park for some quiet time to read a new movie script. Statham had noticed the three young men when they entered the park. Years of playing tough guys in movies had made him good at spotting trouble. Something about these three didn't feel right. He had been watching them from the corner of his eye. When he saw Derek walk toward the small dog with bad intentions, Statham put down his script. He watched as Derek checked to see if anyone was looking. He saw the mean smile on Derek's face. He saw the foot being raised. In one smooth motion, Statham stood up. He moved faster than he did in most of his action movies. People who saw him later said he seemed to fly across the grass. Before anyone knew what was happening, before Derek's foot could touch the dog, Statham was there. His strong hand grabbed Derek's ankle in mid-kick. Derek lost his balance and fell hard on the ground. He looked up in shock and fear. Standing over him was Jason Statham, still holding Derek's ankle in a tight grip. "I wouldn't do that if I were you, mate," Statham said in his deep voice. His eyes were cold and angry. The dog, sensing it was safe, ran back to its owner who was still on the phone. She had no idea what had almost happened to her pet. Mike and Tom stood frozen in place. Their mouths hung open as they recognized the movie star. People in the park began to notice something was happening. Some took out their phones to record. Derek tried to speak, but no words came out. He had never been so scared in his life. This was not how he thought his day at the park would go. Not at all. Derek lay on the ground with Jason Statham standing over him. His friends Mike and Tom were too scared to move. People in the park began to gather around to watch what was happening. "Get up," Statham said as he let go of Derek's ankle. His voice was firm but calm. Derek got up slowly. His pants were dirty from falling on the ground. His face was red with shame and fear. "What were you going to do to that dog?" Statham asked. He crossed his arms over his chest and waited for an answer. "Nothing," Derek lied. "I was just going to pet it." Statham shook his head. "Do not lie to me. I saw what you were about to do." By now a small crowd had formed around them. Some people had recognized Statham and were taking videos with their phones. Mike and Tom tried to back away slowly, hoping to escape. "Not so fast, you two," Statham called out without even turning around. You stay right there." Mike and Tom stopped moving. They looked at each other with worry in their eyes. The owner of the dog finally noticed the crowd and put her phone away. She picked up her small brown dog and walked over to see what was happening. "What's going on here?" she asked. An old man from the crowd spoke up. "This young man was about to kick your dog, but Mr. Statham stopped him." The woman looked shocked. She held her dog closer to her chest. "Why would you do that to Buddy? He never hurt anyone." Derek had no answer. He looked at the ground. "These three need to learn a lesson," Statham said. He thought for a moment, then pulled out his phone. "I have an idea." As Statham made a phone call, the park security guard arrived. The guard was a tall man with gray hair named Bill. "What seems to be the problem here?" Bill asked. Statham put his phone away and explained what had happened. Bill looked at the three young men with disappointment. "We should call the police," Bill said. "Hurting animals is against the law." Derek, Mike, and Tom looked even more scared now. Derek spoke up for the first time. "Please don't call the police," he begged. "My dad will kill me." Statham looked at the three young men. They were probably only 16 or 17 years old. They had done a bad thing, or at least tried to do a bad thing. But maybe there was a better way to teach them a lesson than getting the police involved. "I have another idea," Statham said to Bill. "I just called my friend Sarah, who runs the animal shelter downtown. She needs volunteers." Bill understood what Statham was suggesting. Instead of police, they work at the shelter. "Every weekend for the next 2 months," Statham said. "They can learn how to treat animals with kindness." The dog owner, who had been listening, nodded her head. "I think that's a good idea. Better than getting in trouble with the law." Bill turned to the three young men. "What do you say? Work at the animal shelter or deal with the police?" Derek, Mike, and Tom looked at each other. They didn't want to spend their weekends cleaning up after animals, but they didn't want to get in trouble with the police either. "We'll do it," Derek said finally. "We'll work at the shelter." Statham handed them a card with the animal shelter address on it. "Be there Saturday at 8 a.m. I'll call Sarah if you don't show up." The crowd started to break up now that the drama was over. Some people came up to Statham to ask for pictures or autographs, but he politely declined. He went back to his bench to get his script. The three young men left the park with their heads down. They didn't talk to each other. Derek kept thinking about how close he had come to doing something terrible, and how a famous movie star had stopped him. What none of them knew was that this was just the beginning of a story that would change their lives forever. Saturday morning came too quickly for Derek, Mike, and Tom. None of them wanted to go to the animal shelter, but they were more afraid of what would happen if they didn't show up. Jason Statham knew who they were and where they lived. The famous actor had made sure to get their information before letting them leave the park. At 7:55 a.m., the three boys stood outside the downtown animal rescue center. The building was old but clean. A sign with a dog and cat hung above the door. "This is so stupid," Mike said. "I could be sleeping right now." "Just shut up," Derek snapped. "This is all because of your big mouth pointing out that dog." Tom, who rarely spoke, shook his head. "No, Derek. This is because you tried to kick a dog for no reason." Derek was surprised to hear Tom stand up to him. Before he could respond, the door to the shelter opened. A woman with short red hair and a kind face greeted them. "You must be the boys Jason told me about," she said. "I'm Sarah, the manager here." The boys nodded without saying anything. "Come on in," Sarah said. "We have a lot of work to do today." Inside, the shelter was busy. Workers moved around quickly carrying food, blankets, and cleaning supplies. The sounds of dogs barking and cats meowing filled the air. The smell was strong, a mix of animals and cleaning products. Sarah gave them a tour of the shelter. There were rooms filled with cats in cages, waiting for homes. There were dog kennels where dogs of all sizes lived until someone adopted them. There was a room for small animals like rabbits and guinea pigs, and there was a special room in the back for animals that were sick or hurt. Most of these animals were abandoned or abused, Sarah explained. Some were left on the street. Others were taken from bad homes where they were mistreated. She stopped in front of a cage with a large dog inside. The dog was missing a back leg. "This is Rex," Sarah said. "He was found tied to a tree in the woods. Someone had beaten him badly and left him to die. He lost his leg because of his injuries. Despite what had happened to him, Rex wagged his tail when he saw them. His eyes were gentle and trusting." Derek felt something strange in his chest as he looked at Rex. He felt bad for the dog, and he felt ashamed of what he had almost done to the little dog in the park. "Today you'll be cleaning cages, filling food and water bowls, and helping to walk the dogs," Sarah told them. "The work isn't easy, but it's important." She handed them each a set of cleaning supplies and pointed them to the first row of dog kennels. "Start there and work your way back," she said. "I'll check on you in an hour." The boys got to work. The cages were dirty and smelly. The dogs were excited and hard to control. By lunchtime, all 3 boys were tired and covered in dirt. They sat outside eating sandwiches that Sarah had brought them. None of them talked much. They were too tired and too busy thinking about all they had seen that morning. "I never knew there were so many animals without homes," Tom said finally. Mike nodded. "And did you see that cat with one eye? Someone threw it out of a moving car." Derek was quiet. He kept thinking about Rex, the 3-legged dog. How could the dog still be so friendly after what humans had done to him? As they finished their lunch, the door to the shelter opened. The boys looked up and were shocked to see Jason Statham walking toward them. He wore simple clothes, jeans, and a black shirt, but there was no mistaking who he was. "Hello, boys," Statham said. "How's your first day going?" The 3 boys stared at Jason Statham in surprise. They had not expected to see the movie star at the animal shelter. Derek quickly wiped his dirty hands on his pants. "The work is hard," Mike answered, trying to sound tough. Statham nodded. "It should be. Taking care of animals is a big job." He looked at each boy carefully. "Sarah tells me you've been cleaning the kennels." "Yes, sir," Tom said. He had always been the most polite of the 3. Statham walked over to the kennels and looked inside. The cages were clean, with fresh water and food in each one. He seemed pleased by what he saw. "Not bad for your first day," he said, "but the real work is connecting with the animals. They need more than clean cages. They need care and attention." Sarah came out and greeted Statham with a friendly hug. "Jason brings us supplies every month," she explained to the boys. "He's one of our biggest helpers." The boys were surprised to learn that the famous actor regularly helped at the animal shelter. This was not something they had read about online or seen on TV. "I thought you might want to help me walk some of the bigger dogs," Statham said to the boys. "They need exercise, and Sarah's team is short on volunteers today." Before the boys could answer, Sarah handed them each a leash. "Rex needs a walk too," she said, looking at Derek. "Think you can handle him?" Derek looked at the 3-legged dog who had touched his heart earlier. "I can try," he said. Soon, they were all walking dogs around the large field behind the shelter. Statham showed them how to hold the leashes properly and how to talk to the dogs in a calm voice. The dogs clearly. The next day was Sunday. Derek woke up early even though he was tired from the work at the shelter. He lay in bed thinking about Rex and the other animals he had met yesterday. He had never paid much attention to animals before. They were just there, in the background of life. But now he could not stop thinking about them. His phone buzzed with a text message from Mike. "Are you really going back today?" the message said. Derek typed back quickly. "Yes, we have to." "We could just not show up," Mike replied. "What can Statham do?" Derek thought about this. It was true that Statham probably could not force them to go back. But Derek remembered the promise they had made. And strangely, he found that he wanted to return to the shelter. He wanted to see Rex again. "I'm going," he texted Mike. "Do what you want." At 8 a.m., Derek arrived at the shelter alone. He was surprised to find Tom already there, helping Sarah unload bags of dog food from a truck. "Where's Mike?" Tom asked when he saw Derek. "Not coming, I guess," Derek replied. Sarah handed Derek a bag of dog food. "We have a lot to do today. Some of the dogs need baths, and we have a family coming to look at adopting one of the cats." Derek worked hard all morning. He cleaned cages, gave water to the animals, and even helped Sarah give medicine to a sick cat. The work was still hard, but today it felt different. Today he understood why it mattered. At lunchtime, Derek went to see Rex. The three-legged dog was happy to see him. He wagged his tail and came to the front of his cage. "Can I take him outside?" Derek asked Sarah. Sarah looked surprised but nodded. "Sure. He needs the exercise." Derek and Rex walked around the field behind the shelter. Derek threw a ball for Rex, who ran after it as fast as he could on his 3 legs. Rex seemed to forget he was missing a leg when he was running. He was just a dog having fun. As they played, a car pulled into the shelter parking lot. Derek was surprised to see the woman from the park get out. She was carrying her small brown dog, the one Derek had tried to kick. He felt his face get hot with shame. He did not want to see this woman or her dog. He turned away, hoping she would not notice him. But the woman came straight toward him. "You're one of the boys from the park," she said when she reached him. Derek looked at the ground and nodded. "Yes, I'm sorry about what happened." The woman looked at him for a long time. Then she put her small dog down on the ground. The dog, Buddy, sniffed around curiously. "Jason told me you boys were working here," she said. "I volunteer here too, on Sundays." Derek was surprised. "You do?" She nodded. "That's how Buddy and I met. He was a shelter dog too before I adopted him." Derek looked at Buddy with new eyes. The small dog he had almost hurt had once been like Rex, waiting in a cage for someone to love him. "I'm really sorry," Derek said again. "I don't know why I wanted to hurt your dog. I was being stupid." The woman's face softened. "Yes, you were. But you're here now, making up for it. That counts for something." They walked back to the shelter together. Buddy and Rex sniffed each other and seemed to get along well. Inside, they found Jason Statham had arrived. He was helping Tom clean out the cat room. Statham nodded at Derek and the woman. "I see you've met Lisa," he said. "Yes," Derek said. "She told me she volunteers here too." Statham smiled. "Lisa is the one who got me involved with this place. She's been volunteering here for 10 years. Lisa laughed. "Almost 11 now. And I've adopted 6 animals in that time." Statham turned to Derek. "Where's your friend Mike today?" "He didn't come," Derek admitted. Statham's face grew serious. "That's his choice. But remember, you 3 made a deal. 2 months of weekends." "I know," Derek said. "I'll make sure he comes next time." But as he said it, Derek realized he wasn't sure he wanted Mike to come. Mike might ruin this new feeling Derek had about the shelter and the animals. For the first time in his life, Derek felt like he was doing something good. The next week at school was strange for Derek. Mike avoided him and Tom. He made new friends with some boys who were known for causing trouble. Derek did not care much. His mind was on the animals at the shelter, especially Rex. During lunch on Friday, Derek sat with Tom. They had never been close friends before, but now they had something in common. "Are you going tomorrow?" Tom asked. Derek nodded. "Yeah. I want to see how Rex is doing." Tom smiled. "I like the cats best. Sarah said I could help with the new kittens that came in." Derek was surprised to hear excitement in Tom's voice. Tom had always been quiet and followed whatever Mike wanted to do. Now he seemed different. "What about Mike?" Tom asked. "Do you think he'll show up?" Derek shrugged. "I texted him about it, but he didn't answer." The next day, both Derek and Tom arrived at the shelter early. Sarah greeted them with a smile. "Good to see you boys back," she said. "We have a busy day today." There's an adoption event this afternoon. What's an adoption event? Derek asked. People come to meet the animals and hopefully take some home, Sarah explained. We need to make sure all the dogs and cats look their best. Derek went straight to Rex's cage. The big dog was happy to see him. Derek took him out for a quick walk before starting the work of bathing and brushing all the dogs. As he worked, Derek noticed Mike standing at the entrance of the shelter. He looked uncomfortable. Derek walked over to him. You came. Mike nodded. My dad found out what happened at the park. He said I better finish what I started or he'd take away my phone for a month. Derek tried not to laugh. Mike's reason for coming was not about the animals at all. But at least he was here. Come on, Derek said. You can help me get the dogs ready for the adoption event. The morning went by quickly. All three boys worked hard to prepare the animals. Even Mike did his part, though he complained the whole time. By afternoon, the shelter was filled with visitors looking to adopt pets. Families with children, older people, and young couples walked around looking at the animals. Derek stayed near Rex's cage, hoping someone would want to adopt him. But people kept walking past. They wanted dogs with 4 legs, not 3. Jason Statham arrived during the adoption event. He brought a famous friend with him, an actress Derek recognized from movies. They posed for pictures with the animals, which brought more people to the shelter. Good turnout, Statham said to Derek. How's Rex today? Good, Derek said, but no one wants to adopt him. Statham looked at Rex thoughtfully. Sometimes the right person just hasn't come along yet. As the day went on, many animals found new homes. Cats, dogs, and even a rabbit were adopted. Tom looked happy every time an animal left with a new family. Mike stood back, watching it all with a bored expression. When no one was looking, he slipped out the door and left early. But Derek stayed until the end. He helped clean up after all the visitors had gone. He made sure Rex had fresh water and food before he left. You've done good work today, Sarah told him. You have a way with the animals. Derek felt proud. No one had ever told him he was good at anything before. As he was leaving, Statham stopped him. I noticed something today, the actor said. What? Derek asked. You didn't look at your phone once. You were fully here with the animals. Derek realized it was true. He had been so focused on the dogs and the adoption event that he hadn't checked his phone all day. That had never happened before. See you tomorrow, Statham asked. Yes, Derek said, and he meant it. As he walked home, Derek wondered what his life would be like if he had never met Jason Statham in the park that day. If he had actually kicked that small dog. The thought made him feel sick now. 3 weeks passed. Derek and Tom went to the shelter every weekend without fail. Mike came too, but his heart was not in it. He did the bare minimum work and left as soon as he could. Derek spent most of his time with Rex. The 3-legged dog had become his special friend. He walked Rex, played with him, and made sure his cage was extra clean. He even brought special treats for Rex from home. One Saturday, Derek arrived at the shelter to find Sarah looking worried. What's wrong? He asked. Sarah sighed. Rex isn't eating. He seems sad today. Derek hurried to Rex's cage. The big dog was lying down, not moving much. When he saw Derek, his tail wagged a little, but he didn't get up. What's wrong, boy? Derek asked, entering the cage. He sat on the floor next to Rex and gently petted his head. Sarah watched them. He might be sick. We need to take him to the vet. Can I come? Derek asked quickly. Sarah looked surprised but nodded. Sure. We'll go this afternoon. Derek spent the morning trying to make Rex feel better. He talked to him softly and stayed close. When it was time to go to the vet, Derek helped Sarah get Rex into her car. The vet's office was small but clean. Dr. Wilson was a kind woman with gray hair. She examined Rex carefully. He has an infection, she said finally. It's in the leg that was injured before. Is it serious? Derek asked, his voice shaking a little. It can be, Dr. Wilson said, but we caught it early. He'll need medicine twice a day for 2 weeks. Sarah looked concerned. That's hard for us at the shelter. We don't have enough staff to make sure he gets it at the right times. Derek spoke up without thinking. I can do it. I can come to the shelter before and after school. Sarah and Dr. Wilson looked at him. That's a big commitment, Sarah said. I don't care, Derek replied. I want to help Rex get better. On the way back to the shelter, Sarah called Jason Statham. Derek could hear her telling him about Rex and what Derek had offered to do. When they arrived back at the shelter, Statham was waiting for them. He helped get Rex settled back in his cage. Sarah tells me you volunteered to give Rex his medicine, Statham said to Derek. Derek nodded. Twice a day for 2 weeks. Statham studied Derek's face. That means coming here every day, not just weekends. I know, Derek said. I can do it. Statham smiled slightly. I believe you can. The next 2 weeks were busy for Derek. Every morning before school, he went to the shelter to give Rex his first dose of medicine. Every afternoon after school, he returned for the second dose. He also spent time just sitting with Rex, talking to him, and keeping him company. Tom came with him sometimes after school. Mike never did. Rex started to get better. By the end of the first week, he was eating normally again. By the end of the second week, he was back to his playful self. On the last day of medicine, Sarah had news for Derek. A family is interested in adopting Rex, she said. Derek felt 2 things at once. He was happy that Rex might find a home, but he was also sad at the thought of not seeing him anymore. When will they come to meet him? Derek asked. Tomorrow, Sarah said. They have 2 children and a big yard. It could be a good home for him. That night, Derek could not sleep. He kept thinking about Rex going to live with another family. He would miss the dog terribly, but he knew that a real home would be better for Rex than living in a cage at the shelter. In the morning, Derek went to the shelter early. He wanted to make Rex look his best for the family who might adopt him. You're going to love having a real home, Derek told Rex as he brushed his fur. A family will be so lucky to have you. Rex licked Derek's face as if he understood. For the first time since he had known Rex, Derek felt tears in his eyes. The family came to meet Rex at 10 in the morning. There was a mom, a dad, and 2 children, a boy about 9 and a girl about 7. They seemed nice. Sarah introduced them to Rex, while Derek watched from a distance. The children were gentle with Rex. They patted him carefully and talked to him in soft voices. The parents asked Sarah many questions about how to care for a dog with 3 legs. He runs almost as fast as any other dog, Sarah told them, and he's very smart and loving. Derek wanted to go over and tell them all about Rex, about how he liked to have his ears rubbed, about how he always ate the green dog treats first, about the special way he tilted his head when he heard an interesting sound. But Derek stayed back. This was Rex's chance for a real home. After an hour, the family left. They said they needed to think about it. Derek felt his heart sink. Maybe they didn't want Rex after all. What did they say? Derek asked Sarah when she came back. They're considering it, Sarah said. They're also looking at other shelters. Derek nodded, trying not to show his disappointment. He took Rex outside for a walk to cheer them both up. As they walked around the field, Derek saw a familiar car pull into the parking lot. It was Jason Statham's black SUV. Statham got out and waved at Derek. How did it go with the family? Statham asked, coming over to them. They left, Derek said. Sarah says they're looking at other shelters too. Statham nodded. Finding the right home takes time. He looked at Derek closely. You've grown attached to Rex. It wasn't a question, but Derek answered anyway. Yes, he's special. Why do you think that is? Statham asked. Derek thought for a moment. Because he's been through so much, but he still trusts people. He still wants to be friends with everyone he meets. Statham smiled. That's a good answer. They walked together for a while, Rex happily leading the way. Derek had a question he wanted to ask. "Have you ever thought about adopting Rex yourself?" Derek asked Statham. Statham shook his head. "I travel too much for work. It wouldn't be fair to him." Derek nodded. That made sense. "What about you?" Statham asked. "Have you thought about it?" The question surprised Derek. "Me? I'm just a kid. My parents would never let me." "Have you asked them?" Derek looked down. "No, I didn't think there was any point." "Sometimes people surprise you," Statham said. "Sometimes you have to give them the chance." When Derek got home that evening, he found his parents in the kitchen. His mom was cooking dinner while his dad read the news on his tablet. "I need to talk to you both about something," Derek said. His parents looked up, surprised by his serious tone. "What is it, honey?" his mom asked. Derek took a deep breath. "There's this dog at the shelter. His name is Rex. He has 3 legs because someone hurt him badly. He was sick, but he's better now. He's the best dog I've ever known." His parents listened, saying nothing. "I was wondering," Derek continued, his voice shaking a little, "if we could adopt him. I would take care of him, I promise. I'd walk him and feed him and everything." His parents looked at each other. "This is the shelter where you've been volunteering?" his dad asked. Derek nodded. "Yes, because of what happened in the park. But it's not just that anymore. I really care about these animals now, especially Rex." His mom smiled slightly. "We've noticed a change in you these past weeks. You seem more responsible, more mature," his dad added. "So can we adopt Rex?" Derek asked hopefully. His parents exchanged another look. "We'll need to meet him first," his mom said. "And we'd need to make sure our yard is secure for a dog. And you would need to understand that a dog is a big responsibility," his dad added. "For many years, not just while you're excited about it." Derek felt his heart racing. They hadn't said no. They were actually considering it. "When can we go see him?" Derek asked, trying not to sound too eager. "How about tomorrow?" his mom suggested. Derek could hardly believe his ears. Tomorrow his parents would meet Rex. Tomorrow everything might change. The next day, Derek could hardly sit still at breakfast. His parents had promised to go to the shelter to meet Rex, and Derek was both excited and nervous. What if they didn't like Rex? What if Rex didn't like them? "Ready to go?" his dad asked, putting his coffee cup in the sink. Derek jumped up. "Yes, very ready." The drive to the shelter felt longer than usual. When they arrived, Sarah was at the front desk, looking surprised to see Derek with his parents. "These are my parents," Derek explained. "They want to meet Rex." Sarah smiled. "I see. Well, Rex is in his usual spot. Go on back." Derek led his parents to Rex's cage. The big dog was lying down but stood up when he saw Derek. His tail wagged happily. "This is Rex," Derek said proudly. His mom knelt down to look at Rex through the cage. "He's beautiful," she said. "Can we take him out?" Derek asked Sarah, who had followed them. Sarah nodded and opened the cage. Rex walked out calmly, his 3 legs moving in a smooth rhythm. He went straight to Derek first, then carefully approached Derek's parents. Derek's dad reached out his hand for Rex to sniff. "How did he lose his leg?" he asked. "He was abused by his previous owner," Sarah explained. "He was found tied to a tree in the woods. The leg was too damaged to save." Derek's mom had tears in her eyes. "That's awful." "But he's still so friendly," Derek's dad noted as Rex leaned against his leg. They spent an hour with Rex. Derek showed his parents how Rex could play fetch and how he knew commands like sit and stay. His parents asked Sarah many questions about caring for a dog and the costs involved. As they were talking, the door of the shelter opened and Jason Statham walked in. He saw Derek with his parents and came over. "You must be Derek's parents," Statham said, shaking their hands. "I'm Jason." Derek's parents looked shocked to meet the famous actor. His mom recovered first. "Derek told us how you stopped him in the park that day," she said. "We're grateful. It was a valuable lesson for him." Statham nodded. "Your son has learned a lot since then. He's been a great help here at the shelter. He's become very attached to this dog," Derek's dad said, watching Derek play with Rex. "Rex is special," Statham agreed. "And your son has a special connection with him." Derek pretended not to listen, but he heard every word. His heart beat faster as he waited for his parents to decide. After Statham left, Derek's parents pulled Sarah aside to talk privately. Derek stayed with Rex, trying not to worry. Finally, his parents came back. They were both smiling. "We've talked it over," his dad said, "and we've decided that Rex can come home with us." Derek could hardly believe his ears. "Really? We can adopt him?" His mom nodded. "Yes, there will be paperwork and a home check first, but Sarah says we're approved to adopt." Derek hugged Rex carefully. "Did you hear that, buddy? You're coming home with us." The next few days were busy. Derek and his parents prepared their house for Rex. They bought a dog bed, food bowls, toys, and everything else Rex would need. They made sure their yard fence was secure. 1 week later, Rex officially became part of Derek's family. On his first night in his new home, Rex slept on the floor next to Derek's bed. The following weekend, Derek still went to the shelter to volunteer. Tom was there too. Even though their required 2 months were almost over, they both planned to keep helping. "Heard about Rex," Tom said. "That's really cool." Derek smiled. "Yeah, he's great at home. My parents love him too." As they cleaned cages together, Derek thought about how much his life had changed since that day in the park. How one bad choice, stopped by Jason Statham, had led to so much good. At the end of the day, Derek was surprised to find Statham waiting for him outside the shelter. "How's Rex in his new home?" Statham asked. "He's perfect," Derek said. "Thank you for suggesting I ask my parents." Statham smiled. "You did all the hard work. You changed Derek. That's why your parents trusted you with Rex." "I never thought I'd say this," Derek admitted, "but I'm glad you caught me that day in the park." "The best mistakes are the ones we learn from," Statham said. "Just promise me something." "What?" Derek asked. "Next time you see someone being cruel to an animal, you be the one to stop them." Statham held out his hand. Derek shook it firmly. "I promise." And he meant it with all his heart.